Welcome to this episode of the Gym Informer Podcast. I'm Chris Gilbert, your host for this episode, and today our guest is Dr. Jon Segreti, the owner of the Kingdom Gym up in northern New Jersey. I got a chance to work out there a few months ago. It is a very cool new school style bodybuilding gym. I'm super excited to talk to Jon about it. But before we get started, let me show you the photos I took when I was at the gym. All right, Jon. The first thing I noticed was when I started doing a little bit of research is the doctor in front of your name. What sort of I'm assuming it's a PhD?
No, so I'm actually a chiropractic physician. So I have
okay.
a doctorate in chiropractic. Yes, sir.
Okay, so how did you go from being a chiropractic doctor to owning a gym?
The story I always tell, right, is being a lifelong meathead, right? So just always being in and out of the gym, doing a lot of bodybuilding training as I was out of college, looking to get back into school to get my doctorate for chiropractic, obviously. I always gravitated towards that world, more or less. After having been in practice, I always want to do like athletics, right? So whether it was sports or whatever, I got my taste for the normal practice life. I started out in a sports rehab practice. I enjoyed it, but there's still a lot of normal people, like people of all different walks of life, we'll call it, right?
Right.
I had another opportunity at another practice, more fitness-based. It was called Health and Fitness Professionals. So it was geared towards athletes, but again, still seeing a lot of average people. And during that time, I always had the dream of owning my own gym and what it would look like, what it would feel like, what the atmosphere would be like, what kind of equipment would be in it. And during COVID, I said, let's go for it. I talked to my brother, I talked to my mom. We started lining some things up and decided to take the shot and go after something big.
Nice. Now, how long were you planning to open the gym before you actually opened the gym?
So from like the initial ideas of it to getting a lease and getting a building and finding all that, it took about a year, I would say.
Okay.
Maybe just under a year. We opened up the LLC towards the end of 2020. We found the spot in probably the middle of 2021. I want to say June 2021. And then it took about a year to build it out. Like once we finalized all the lease stuff and built out the building, it was completely raw space. So there was not a single shred of anything besides metal studs in there. When we took the space, so it was a completely vacant building. We were the first tenant in the building, so there was a lot of legal township ordinances and permits and stuff like that. Not loopholes, right, but like stuff like that to work our way through. So it took a lot of time for the build out. Again, first time building, all kinds of inspections, all that stuff just took a lot longer than expected.
I can imagine.
So from idea to doors open and active, almost 2 years, I would say.
Okay. Yeah, the reason I asked initially was because I was impressed at how new the gym was when I got there and how much Prime equipment you have, because I know the lead time on Prime is like really long.
Yeah.
So I was assuming like you must have ordered that stuff way before you opened the gym.
Yeah. So when we kind of were like, all right, we're doing this, we didn't even have our lease finalized before we ordered a large amount of Prime stuff. So knowing that Prime was going to occupy most of our space, having used it before and falling in love with a lot of it, we just kind of took the shot on that, hoping that we would have a place for it to land by the time it was ready to go.
Nice. Yeah. So you said because with falling in love with it, what was the decision? Like, what was it about Prime that you were like, this is what I want in my gym? Because you have a ton of Prime equipment. You probably have more Prime equipment for the size of gym that you have than any other gym your size that I've been to.
Yeah, probably. So I went to school in Florida, so I had an opportunity to work out at MI40 gym, if you're familiar with it,
Yeah.
which was built by IFBB Pro Ben Mikulski at the time, right? So, having worked with him and trained there, I used so much of it and fell in love with a lot of just the engineering of it, right? So a lot of it
Mhm.
is very, very smooth. You have the opportunity to load the different pegs, and being a chiropractor, a lot of those varying resistances can play well in rehab settings too, right? So
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
again, great for bodybuilding, great for all the engineering and stability and all the other little details that they add to it. But the ability to load the resistance for somebody who may be doing a rehab program versus bodybuilding work or strength work was another dynamic or another layer that we wanted to add to it that played very well with our overall mission, right? So that is kind of why we went full swing on Prime.
Yeah, and I've always said like if my home gym had like the gym I work out in every day had one brand of equipment, I'd want it to be Prime. Like
Yeah.
when I go to a gym for a day, I get the most excited about Atlantis, just because I feel like Prime, you got to dial in, you know.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely. I always joke with somebody who's coming in for the first time. I always say like there is a little bit of a learning curve to it, right? So
Mhm.
getting acclimated to it and finding your settings and where it loads best for you or what you're trying to do on that particular day or that part of your program takes a little bit of tinkering with.
Yeah, you got to play around with it, but once you play around with it, you get it dialed in. Like it's hard to beat it.
Yeah, it's hard to beat. And like you said, you mentioned Atlantis too. So we have a few Atlantis pieces as well, and they are pound for pound minus the loading component of it. I love the Atlantis pieces as well too.
Yeah, Atlantis they make some pretty top notch stuff. So, and you've got both, and that's pretty awesome, especially for a gym as new as yours, because you've been open just about a year, a little over a year.
A little over a year, so about a little over a year and a half now. So we opened officially in October of 22. So now being 24, yeah, a little over a year and a half now.
Yeah, because when I was there last summer, you hadn't even been open a year yet,
Yeah,
so it was pretty new, and you had all of that badass equipment already. Now, from an atmosphere standpoint, you had what I would kind of classify as like a new school gym, bodybuilding gym feel. Um, was that something you were going for on purpose, or because it's
yeah.
very like
So
clean lines and like stuff like that?
so I just wanted something that felt super super clean, right? So there's a
Mhm.
lot of gyms, especially like call it like hardcore facilities that have a lot of writing or different things that add to the atmosphere, the ambiance of the facility. I wanted a super super clean vibe, a very super clean look. Uh, some modern-ish elements to it, like we wanted to have the lights be a little bit more modern, have the pockets of light and stuff like that played well for how everything looked and felt during different periods of the day.
Right.
Obviously, having our big open windows helps open it up to sunlight during the day, so it feels very open in there, which I think is something that helps us a lot.
Hmm.
Um, being that it's not a huge facility by any means, but having that it feels so open helps kind of play to all that really well.
Yeah, and I think you did it well. And with the new school equipment, I mean, going with the new school atmosphere kind of makes sense. I think. Um, and you had it organized very much like a bodybuilding gym. So I'm assuming that was on purpose.
Yeah, totally on purpose there. So, uh, again, going back to where I trained at MI40, it was split in two halves of the gym. Like one side was all legs, one side was all upper body. So I kind of built that similarly, right? Where it just makes sense to kind of have all of one thing more or less on one side. Again,
Right.
you can swap sides and do different things on either side, but uh, if you're going to focus on one thing, just being in it or being on the leg side and just getting after it, or being in the upper side and having the ability to jump back and forth between pieces. I know a lot of people may or may not superset stuff, but sometimes they're like, oh, well, I have to go across the gym to superset a cable with a machine or with a dumbbell, and having to worry about that set after set, like, oh, somebody's going to take my stuff. Or even in a
Right.
small facility like ours, it happens still, but having
Hmm.
proximity of everything kind of helps just keep the flow and keep the energy of a workout high, I think.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, not that people can't superset legs with upper body, but most supersets that I've seen are either one upper body muscle with a different upper body muscle, or not going up and down. So
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, obviously, again, everything is right next to each other. You could walk from one side to another. It's not like you have to go to a different floor or anything. But yeah, just like that, it just helps keep the flow of a workout, I think, or keep the energy on one side or stuff
oh
like
yeah,
that.
yeah, 100%. So you've got now. How big is the gym right now?
So it's 6,500 square feet as it stands
Okay.
right now.
And as of right now, are you happy with where the gym is? Are you hoping to get bigger? Do you think one day there'll be a second Kingdom Gym? Like, what's the future of Kingdom Gym? I know you haven't been open that long, but have you already started thinking about the future?
Yeah, we're always looking to the future, right? So we always see new spots arise where we're always on the hunt for a bigger opportunity. We would love a second location, I think, depending on where it would be, or either moving our facility to a slightly bigger location, but also keeping it nearby. Like, I think if we were to expand to a full blown second location, it would be a little bit further away. Obviously, we'd look for it to be a little bit bigger, but
Mm-hmm.
all of the options are open for us all of the time. So yeah, as things come up, me and my brother, my partner, we talk about that stuff all the time, and nothing is really off the table in terms of what the next step could or would be.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And you guys obviously are doing well. I see quite a few people tagging the gym on social media and stuff like that. So you guys are popping up and on the feed quite a bit. So from a membership
Yeah,
standpoint, you're obviously doing pretty
we
well
have a good
already.
energy. Yeah, a lot of our people, um, uh, we feel that we have a good loyalty, right? So people like our space. There's a community being built here more than anything, and there's a lot of camaraderie between a lot of those people. So if you've been in here during the day, or to our members, almost everybody just kind of hangs out. Um, it's kind of like one big family here.
That's awesome. Yeah. And have you done things you feel like that you've done to like kind of create that environment or to sponsor that environment?
I mean, we're family owned and operated, right? So me, my brother, and my mom all are huge pivotal pieces here. So
Hmm.
the way our family has always operated, our house back growing up was always an open door, somebody coming in and out and kind of embracing anybody who does or wants to be a part of that. So the same thing applies here. Like I've opened these doors, I've offered to help anybody, and so many people have actually come and helped me in so many ways. And so I'm extremely grateful for all of the help that people have given me, and I try to reciprocate that as best I can, as often as I can. And I think that energy more than anything is something that continues to flow through the gym, whether it's about gym stuff or if it's just about the small events that we do. We've had
Yeah.
small little Halloween parties or Christmas parties with our team, and open it up to anybody else who really wants to be there. Um, on Thanksgiving, we usually bring food and have turkey laid out on the table, like, because
Nice.
obviously we're there working. So the family atmosphere goes into every aspect of what the business is too.
Oh yeah, that's awesome. And it was obviously a family oriented thing because the day that I was there, like you were there, your wife was there working out, your daughter was chilling. So
Yeah, and any given day you could find either of them there. My daughter's been there more now, running around, catch her on the rower machine, sometimes just on a treadmill now that she knows how to turn it on. But yeah, so
nice.
super open. Everybody is very, very relaxed, and it just it helps with the atmosphere and the vibe of everything here.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah. So I know you've had the gym for about a year and a half now. And I'm assuming you've probably learned a lot of things in the first year and a half. So one of the things we always
Yes.
ask gym owners, like, is there anything that any piece of advice or any multiple pieces of advice that you would give to someone who's thinking about opening a gym?
That's a great question. I think that the best piece of advice I could probably give to is actually owning what you want to, like, personally owning and standing behind whatever your mission is for the gym. So like, I'm not a bodybuilder, but we have catered to a lot of them. But I also kind of live in that world and focus on some of like those training principles and stuff like that. So whatever your mission is you just have to stick to it and stay true to it and run with it as best as you can. There's always, in any business, whether it's a gym business or a restaurant, there's always going to be unexpected hiccups, obstacles, all kinds of stuff. So that's something that's general business advice. But a business for gyms, I would say is pick something that you absolutely love, and it does get grueling sometimes, probably. So gyms are, for the most part, open 7 days a week. There's long hours, especially for a commercial type setting like we are. So 5 a.m. to 10 p.m. during the week and 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And I'm here almost every one of those 7 days a week, holidays, all that stuff. So if you don't love it, if you're not all in, it's hard to wake up and show up every single day and deal with the good problems and the bad problems, right? So things are going to happen. So without a good why and a good mission behind it and something that you absolutely love, I don't think you can do it for very long.
Yeah, no, that's great advice. Yeah. Was there anything else that you wanted to tell anyone about your gym?
No, not really. I mean, we're on the up, right? So we're always going to be looking for, like I said, that's maybe that second location or that upgrade to the first facility. So we're just looking to keep growing. And if people are looking for a good community, people that stand behind them and stand with. Oh, I lost you there for a second. And stand behind them. We're here for you, right? So we would love to support. We're here to support every part of our Kingdom family. So if you're in the area, check us out. If you're not in the area, come check us out. But
yeah, it was a fun gym to work out at, even just for a day pass. It was a fun gym to explore. So
yeah, absolutely. I'm glad to hear that, man.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate you taking the time to come on with us.
Absolutely. It's been fun.
If you enjoyed this podcast, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more great content.